Hello, I'm Delusion Dispeller, and I believe this may be one of the last videos, if not the last video. I'm going to tell you now regarding somebody with narcissistic personality disorder, the treatment, cognitive behavioral therapy, or any other treatment, and how that would all work out or not work out. Alright, in the case of somebody with narcissistic personality disorder, the cognitive behavioral therapy treatment may not be as yielding of results with them as it would be with somebody with just an anxiety disorder. The reason for this is that the narcissist has a really big difficult time admitting that he or she may be perceiving things incorrectly. So if the therapist says to them, well, could you maybe have, thought they were closer? No, they were. And I know they just were out to get me. I think they just have this death wish to kill me because they don't like the way I acted towards them, and I didn't give them the position they wanted, and it will go on. They would tell you why that what they saw was the truth, and that how dare you accuse them of not knowing what really went on, and that kind of thing. So in their minds, the other person is the one that needs to do things the right way, so they won't feel so upset with them, and so they wouldn't be hurt in the car accident. As I've said, in order to help some narcissists, they need to be isolated from all, and I mean all, ALL, capital ALL, NPD supply people and sources, and be reprogrammed over a lengthy period of time. When I say isolated, I mean if it's a guy, you remove him from his children, his wife, his friends, his job, everything. You put him in a building where they specialize in treating narcissism and reprogramming their minds to understand empathy, to understand letting other people go first, to understand how people feel about being hurt, etc., whatever the normal, understanding is in society of how to get along with others. They would literally have to be pulled away from anybody that could tell them great job or you're wonderful or you're handsome or whatever. All they needed is the reprogramming of information into their brains, and hopefully over time their hearts will catch up with it and they would begin to show other people compassion and care. But that takes a lot, and it's very rare that a narcissist will agree to even go through that unless they have lost everything and they're starting to question, maybe it's me. But that's very rare, like I said. You can imagine that this type of reprogramming can also be seen as kind of cultic and controversial, brainwashing, if you will. But the person with narcissistic personality disorder already is damaged, and it will take extensive and intensive therapy to help them, if they can be or will be helped at all. I personally have seen that people with generalized anxiety disorder can have varying reactions, more so than people with narcissistic personality disorder. People with NPD can be fairly predictable and follow a pattern in their reactions. For instance, if you utter something that a narcissist can see as questioning their decision about something or how they're feeling, you can almost always guarantee that if they're in the devaluing stage of you, they are going to be hyper, critical, cruel in what they say and what they do towards you. With someone with generalized anxiety disorder, they may react in varying levels of upsetment at similar circumstances. They're not particularly always predictable or patterned, because one time one thing may bother them a lot and the other time the same thing may not bother them at all or very little, other than you do know that certain things will bother them. So it's just kind of, there's more of a gradation with somebody with GAD than with NPD. NPD is more of a ingrained pattern, and it invades the person's whole entire being and their life and the way they do things and look at things and look at people. Narcissists cannot control their anxiety as easily as other people, because what drives it is their need for narcissistic supply. And if they can't get that supply source, they will be panicked and insecure, and they will lash out. He or she, the narcissist, relies on what other people think of them in order to create a stable self-concept. Having to rely on other people to make them feel okay or stable or level or balanced causes their resentment. They don't like having to rely on other people. They are self-made men or women in their eyes. And that will cause them to be afraid and full of rage. They don't like being confronted or judged in front of other people. So they're anxious in public settings. They're perfectionists, and they need to hear how wonderful they are at their jobs, how beautiful and handsome they are. And so does the person with generalized anxiety disorder to an extent. But the person with GAD, unlike the narcissist, does not have to be the best at all times like a narcissist does. They just want to know and need to know that people approve them, accept them, and appreciate them. Narcissists have to be tops at all times and will set out to destroy anyone stealing their limelight. People with GAD really don't want limelight very much. In both disorders, the people with these disorders can be their own worst enemies, telling themselves what they believe others think about them and or may do to them. Stay tuned a little bit more.